Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The SEC is meeting with Ripple today, Monday, March 25th, 2024. And very soon the case is finally going to wind down. We'll find out exactly what happens regarding the remedies portion of this lawsuit. We'll talk about what that may mean for XRP specifically. Some people think it's going to matter tremendously. I've said previously, and I stand by this, I don't agree with that assessment, but hey, I could be wrong. Just a dude on the internet, who knows? But it's exciting because we're actually going to have, first word regarding the remedies portion by tomorrow. That's another part of the deadline. I'll give you the specifics here. Also, I want to cover just a little bit of this story. This is from Business Insider. Haven't talked about SBF in a while, have we, right? On the Moon Lambo channel. Oh, SBF, that cucumber-eating son of a bitch. Here's the headline, though. FTX says victims may get all their money back. The judge sentencing Sam Bankman-Fried might not care. And so a couple things I'll note. Sam Bankman-Fried is set to be sentenced within the next few days. He could get over 100 years. His lawyers are asking for, I think, like 6.5 years. I don't think either of those things is going to happen. But I'd be shocked if he didn't get at least a few decades. But as far as the idea of victims getting all their money back, no, that's incredibly misleading. That's super duper incredibly misleading, and I would just say outright inaccurate. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so into the first topic. Here's a headline from You Today. Ripple and SEC enter next phase with pivotal filing. Countdown begins. The legal battle between Ripple Labs and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has been a focal point in the cryptocurrency industry with implications that extend far beyond the parties involved. Recently, the lawsuit took a significant step forward as the remedies briefing kicked off with a pivotal filing. According to James K. Filan, a former federal prosecutor, the SEC has filed under seal its opening remedies-related brief and supporting documents. These documents are not public yet, with public redacted versions to be filed no later than Tuesday, March 26, 2024. So, folks, that would be by tomorrow, and we'll come back to that in just a second here. On March 19th, Ripple and the SEC submitted a joint sealing proposal to address sealing issues relevant to the remedies-related briefing in the lawsuit. With the SEC's opening motion kicking off the remedies briefing, other crucial dates to keep an eye on would be April 22nd, 2024, when Ripple's opposition brief is anticipated, and May 6th, when the SEC's reply brief is expected. The breakdown of the key dates as presented in the most recent joint sealing proposal is given as follows, and this is the part that's happening today, Monday, March 25th. On March 25th, 2024, both Ripple and the SEC are expected to meet and confer to identify any redactions requested for each side and third parties for the opening brief and accompanying materials. On March 26th, that'll be tomorrow, the SEC is anticipated to file a public redacted version of its opening brief containing only the provisional redactions requested by the parties and third parties during the meet and confer. The SEC will also file in the public docket any supporting exhibits that have not been designated as confidential by the SEC, Ripple, or any third party under the protective order. Okay, so depending on how severe these redactions are going to be, that'll determine exactly what we find out tomorrow when the redacted version is made public. Now, my suspicion is that anything of substance we're actually going to see, I assume that's going to be revealed. I think it's just going to be if there's sensitive information about an individual or something along those lines, and that's what the SEC and Ripple are going to hash out together. But I think we're actually going to have a story on this one, and we'll find out just how severe remedies the SEC is looking for against Ripple, how bad they want to hammer them here. And I'm assuming that whatever it is, it's going to be completely over the top and unreasonable, because the reason I say this, it's my sage wisdom, which indicates that the lawyers at the SEC, they are indeed a bunch of asshat pricks. So that's why I firmly believe that what's most probable is something outrageous, just something completely unreasonable. It's going to be filed, and then we're going to talk about it on the internet. This is what's been happening for years, folks. Now, as far as if this pertains to XRP specifically, there are still people in the community, and you look at it, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I could be wrong here. There are people that think that XRP price is going to react upon news, either if not of this, then certainly when this thing concludes, and they think that it might be like what happens with the price of XRP would be contingent upon a favorable ruling for Ripple. I just don't buy that. I just don't think the market cares. I mean, it's very clear that XRP has legal clarity. That's the reason that every exchange under the damn sun did relist XRP in the United States. So if that wasn't enough, I think the market kind of picked up on that. So if Ripple gets some sort of bad deal, they get a raw deal, and they have to pay some outrageous amount of money or whatever the penalties might be, I just don't see why an XRP holder would care. Why would a speculator care? I haven't seen a great case articulated, but some people just think that that's how people are going to respond, basically because reasons. I don't get it, and fine, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. I really just don't see it. I don't think the market's going to give a damn. And why should they? They shouldn't. It doesn't matter at all, as far as I'm concerned here. I mean, it only matters insofar as, since I'm an XRP holder and I've been going through this with the rest of you for years now, admittedly, I have curiosity, and I'm sure you guys do too, obviously. It's like we have curiosity about it. But the part that matters for us, that's over. We got our clarity, and we're entering a bull run right now. It's incredible. So this thing is, coming up roses for us, at least so far, right? But as far as SBF, let's talk a little bit about this. So the headline here from Business Insider: FTX's victims may get all their money back. The judge sentencing Sam Bankman-Fried might not care. Well, I don't know what the judge is going to feel, and I don't know exactly what will be considered, but the victims getting quote-unquote their money back, the judge should be taking mental stock of that, because it's literally not true. It's absolutely not, because it depends on what you call money. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment here. But let me share with you a little bit of this article. According to federal prosecutors, Sam Bankman-Fried orchestrated one of the biggest criminal frauds in the history of the world. Customers of FTX, his cryptocurrency exchange, lost more than $8 billion, they say. According to his lawyers, FTX's customers might get all their money back. Their dispute leaves a 4-decade gap between how long prosecutors want the ex-crypto boss to serve in prison and the much lower 6.5-year sentence his lawyers are fighting for. The judge who will sentence Bankman-Fried on Thursday is being asked to address this vast gulf. He will have to decide how much money the convicted fraudster should be held accountable for. He is also being asked to weigh the entire circumstances of Bankman-Fried's life, including the possibility that he is neurodivergent and should be treated differently than a run-of-the-mill fraudster. Oh, poor little Sam Bankman-Fried. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Cucumber-eating son of a bitch. Oh, sad. I don't give a crap. I have literally no sympathy for it. He ruined people's lives. No sympathy whatsoever for this douchebag. Bankman-Fried's criminal case is inextricable from the complicated bankruptcy of FTX, the cryptocurrency exchange he was convicted of using as a vehicle for fraud. He was arrested in December 2022, just about a month after FTX collapsed and declared insolvency under a new CEO, the seasoned executive John J. Ray III, who was tasked with shepherding the ruins of FTX through the bankruptcy court. Since the arrest, the criminal cases against Bankman-Fried and his co-conspirators, other executives who have pleaded guilty and largely cooperated with prosecutors, worked on a parallel legal track to FTX's bankruptcy proceedings. As Bankman-Fried sat in his parents' home under house arrest, he purported to make efforts to help out with the bankruptcy process. Offering to help identify FTX's assets, he repeatedly emailed Ray, who spurned him. Shortly after he took over the company, Ray told the court there was a complete absence of trustworthy financial information. Bankman-Fried complained about being shut out, insisting to journalists and friends that he could have helped locate FTX's scattered assets. U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan, who presides over Bankman-Fried's criminal case in Lower Manhattan, precluded all talk of the bankruptcy proceedings from the month-long trial. Bankman-Fried's criminal culpability rested on intent to defraud, not how much money customers actually lost, he ruled. And folks, so that part was kind of interesting to me. The way the law works, at least in this particular district, is that it's not about how much money is even stolen. In fact, at some point in this article, they said it doesn't matter if if you were, if he was aiming just to defraud to the tune of $5 million and only got $2. The $5 million figure is the part that matters, which is not good for SBF. It's definitely not good for SBF. And this is one of the largest instances of fraud, in this case an outright Ponzi scheme, in the history of our species. $11 billion, if you include Alameda. $11 billion. So we're going to find out on Thursday how long he's going to spend in prison. And as far as I'm concerned, the longer the better. I have absolutely no sympathy for this cucumber-eating son of a bitch. And as far as the money people lost, well, they're not getting it all back. If anyone's going to argue that they're getting it all back, it's twisted, and here's why. So check out this part of the article right here. FTX's depositors would be repaid based on the dollar value of their cryptocurrency holdings at the time that FTX declared bankruptcy. So folks, if they bought Bitcoin and they owned Bitcoin, what they're getting back is not Bitcoin. If they owned XRP at the time that this happened, what they are getting back is not XRP. It's basically liquidated at whatever price that is for all intents and purposes. It's tantamount to that occurring. And then they get the dollar value at that, which is way less than what the market is now. So check this out. They write, so if someone purchased one Bitcoin on FTX's exchange at the price of $60,000, and then Bitcoin dropped to $20,000 in November of 2022, which can be at least partly attributed to the chaos of FTX at the time, their credit is worth $20,000. It doesn't matter if the price of Bitcoin has risen back to over $60,000 since then. The creditor would get $20,000, not $60,000. So folks, think about it. Say you bought Bitcoin at $60,000, and then say you got a whole Bitcoin, and then it drops in price. It loses 66% of its value, of its market value, and then you think you still have the one Bitcoin. And you did, that didn't change, regardless of what it's worth in United States dollars. And then this collapse happens because it's a Ponzi scheme. You couldn't cash out. And now what you're getting back after all of this, and there's nothing you could do in the interim. You didn't have your funds. What you get back is not your one Bitcoin. You get back dollars. And so if it went from, like they said here, if it went from $60,000 to $20,000, too bad, so sad for you, crypto investor on FTX. And they call that, FTX customers being made whole. They're getting all their money back. No, they're supposed to get their crypto back. Then it would be made whole. But of course, we knew that wasn't going to happen. I know that's not a realistic target, but then don't say that it's happening, because that is just misleading. It's just not the case. These customers are not being made whole. And, think about, so that money, had they gotten it the day that FTX collapsed, which obviously was impossible, but had that happened, at least they could have reinvested it, and then they wouldn't have lost it. But that's not the case. They lost, about a year and a half to this point, those funds not being put to work in crypto, and now we're well into a bull run. This has wrecked people. I have no sympathy for SBF. So we'll see what happens. Again, my opinion, as far as the prison sentence, the longer, the better. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.